session, set that to record. What we will be doing after the end of the session is I'll send you a follow-up email with the PowerPoint that I'm presenting today and the link to this video as well, so that you can watch it back. So my keyboard's not working very well. Let's use my mouse instead. So just to introduce myself, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Alice. I'm an account manager here at Tobii Dynavox, and I've been working here about 3.5 years. So my role here is to support sales within the West Midlands and part of Yorkshire, and I have 4 other colleagues that carry a similar role across different parts of the UK as well. So between us all, we kind of support any sales kind of needs or kind of demos and training and assessments. The other part of my role is kind of supporting training and implementation. So I deliver training sessions like this one, and in the kind of good old days when we were allowed out of the house, I would visit different settings, schools, speech and language therapy departments, etc., and deliver training around AAC. My history is I'm a speech and language therapist. I worked in paediatrics for around 9 years, and that worked with children anything from 2 all the way to about 19, and I worked in a range of different settings. So what we're going to do today is we are going to start our series of training around SnapCall First. And this first session is basically going to look at getting you started. So this is the first of 6 modules that we'll be delivering over time. At the end of this, one of the end slides here will give you dates and times for the other modules if you'd like to come along with those as well. But today we're going to be doing getting started. So what I'm going to cover is I'm going to give you an introduction to SnapCall First. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background and the tools that are available within it. I'm going to give you a demo so we can have a look at it together. And then I'm going to talk you through how to get started with a free trial. So SnapCall First, for those of you that have maybe new to it, it's an intuitive software created on 3 pillars for communication success. So when we looked at developing this software, we wanted to develop something that would support AAC users that benefited from symbols, but what we wanted to focus on was engagement, growth, and literacy. So what I'll do is I'll go through kind of each of those and kind of talk a little bit about how we've addressed it. But I thought it might be useful to kind of begin a little bit talking about the kind of type of language that we've provided within SnapCall First. So I'll give you a little bit of a background on some of the organisation and why we've put certain bits in. If you do want to find out more about this, feel free to contact us afterwards, and we can maybe arrange a session where we can go a little bit more in depth for you. So one of the things that we wanted to do when we kind of had a look at this was make sure that we're putting the right types of language in there. So we know that as verbal communicators, we use 2 types of language, and these are referred to as novel and formulaic. Novel language is that kind of word-by-word sentence building. So it's putting specific words together to get across a specific message. Formulaic language is that kind of chunks of language that we use every day to help us be efficient and quick at communicating. So what we kind of had a bit of a look at was that some of our previous offerings and other offerings kind of available on the market tended to include either one, so either formulaic or novel language. But because we know that as verbal communicators, we use a mixture of both to make us efficient communicators, we wanted to make sure that we could provide both of those within this software. So we've done that by including a bunch of different tools. So I'll go through each of these tools in a second, and we'll talk a little bit about the types of language in there. But you can see on the formulaic side, we've got topics and quickfires, and on the novel side, we've got core words, or word lists, which you might know as fringe vocabulary, and keyboards. So let's go through some of these a little bit and see if we can get a better understanding of how these work. So we wanted to make sure that engagement was something that we focused on quite a lot. So we wanted to provide communication tools that allowed our AAC users to engage in meaningful conversations. So this includes quickfires, and it also includes topics. Now, quickfires and topics allow our learners to engage in meaningful conversations using those chunks of language. So it's that formulate language. And it's the type of language that we use every day and allows us to kind of engage socially. So a couple of examples of formulate language are kind of a daily occurrence, whether it's on the phone or face-to-face. You might meet somebody, say, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good, thanks, how are you? Those are kind of chunks of language that we've got locked and loaded for those social situations. So I'm not necessarily processing those phrases word by word, but it's something, a phrase that I know that I use in that specific situation, in that social situation, that will help me engage with that person. Another example might be, we're in a shop and the assistant says, hi, can I help you? And we might say, more often than not, no, thank you, I'm just looking. Again, just something that I've automatically got on the tip of my tongue, but it helps me respond in that situation. Similarly, somebody knocks on the door, and I might answer with, hi, how can I help you? Again, just something that I know that I use within that social situation. So within quickfires, we have provided those kind of phrases and words that engage us socially in those situations. And when we go into the demo, I'll show you a little bit more about those. And then in topics, we've kind of followed the same principle in that our buttons will all be based around formulate language. So it'll be short phrases or sentences, but these are going to be more context specific. So this is going to allow us to engage meaningfully in specific situations. So this one's bubbles. It might be around bowling. It might be around going shopping. So both of these tools, topics and quickfires, support engagement in meaningful conversations. Literacy was our other pillar that we wanted to look at. So what we've provided here is a core word set with systematic growth. This is based on current research, and we've got some additional tools in there to develop higher level language and literacy skills. We know that core is a focus on AAC today. It's very prevalent. Most AAC systems have a core word system embedded in them. A couple of things to know about ours. We use what's called a modified Fitzgerald key. So that basically refers to the way that the keyboard is laid out. So you can see that we've got kind of columns of language, and it goes from left to right. And the idea with this is that it helps support that idea of sentence building from left to right. We colour code different groups of language, which again helps us with that understanding of kind of different types of words that we might use, how we use them together. And it also actually helps a bit further down the line with kind of navigating and finding certain words. So for example, if we're looking for a verb and we know that they're green, visually we might be able to find that quicker, rather than having to scan through a whole load of different words. Why core words? Well, we know that core words are not only high frequency words, so the kind of words that we use all of the time, but they're also really flexible. So if we just think of the word more, for example, that can be used at mealtime to say, I want more chips. It can be used at playtime, I want more swing. It can be used in maths. There are more buttons here than over there. So it can be used in lots and lots of different situations. So the idea is that with core vocabulary, we're providing our students with what might be a smaller set of vocabulary, so therefore easier for them to learn, but a really, really powerful set of vocabulary as well. And within Snap Core First, we've got a couple of different things that we can kind of do to support that literacy as well. So it might be initially that we want to use symbols with our students, but over time, we may be able to gradually reduce that symbol use as literacy skills develop. and we can actually just take away the symbols. So it might be that over time we might be aiming towards something that's more text-based for those that are developing their literacy skills to that level. It also might be that for those that do have some literacy skills, or for whom literacy is a focus on, it might be that we want to provide them with a keyboard that actually helps them find words a little bit quicker than searching and navigating through word lists. So a really good way of combining kind of keyboards with symbol-based material as well. The last pillar that we wanted to look at was growth. So we know that supporting growth is really, really important. We don't want to just meet our students where they're at now. So we want to provide them with something that suits them and their level of both cognition and language right now. We want it to grow and develop with them. So we don't kind of get stuck in that situation where a set of vocabulary works really well now, but maybe in 1, 2, 3 years it's no longer suitable and we have to start introducing something else. So what we've actually done with Snap is we've provided a way that you can grow this language with that student. And we've provided 2 ways in which you can do that. Location-based, which is this top example. So what you'll notice here is what we've actually done is chosen a grid size that we think the student can aim towards. But what we've actually done is we've hidden a whole load of buttons, and gradually over time, what we're going to do is we're going to gradually unhide those buttons so that we eventually end up with the full screen at the end. A couple of advantages to this approach, and the main one being that it really, really supports the idea of multi-planning. So it might be that we want to kind of reduce the language down at the beginning because that's kind of suiting that client's needs. But by adding new vocabulary over time, what we don't want them to do is to have to relearn where everything is. So what you actually do is all the vocabulary they've learned stays exactly the same place as it's always been. All you're doing is adding buttons around it. So we kind of talk a little bit about the idea of, you know, either touch typists or thinking about like my phone. I can pretty much open it up, find Facebook without looking because I know exactly where it is. And so when I'm searching for that app, I'm much less relying on reading or finding that symbol. I'm actually remembering exactly where I found it. And that makes me quick and efficient. And so we want to make sure that we keep that location for those that really rely on it in place. The second way is size-based growth. So as you can see at the bottom, what you can basically do is just choose a grid size that suits them. So in this example, we've gone for 4 buttons. And then over time, we've just gradually increased it as that student skills have developed. That is everything for now. Cameron, do we have any questions?
Yeah, a couple. First of all, it might be just a bit easier if you could just speak a little bit slower.
Okay.
I think it's just, you know what microphones are like.
Sure.
Another question we had was asking if the sort of colours for like the Fitzgerald keyboard, do they match with colourful semantics?
Yeah, that's a great question. They do not. The colours on a Fitzgerald keyboard are slightly different to colourful semantics. However, you can easily change these to match colourful semantics if that's something that you're supporting at school. And you'll see at one of our further modules called Customize Core First, we'll be able to show you how to do that. So no, they don't match colourful semantics, but yes, it is possible to make the colours match. Anything else?
One last question was asking about how do you remove symbols? Now, I'm not sure if this question is meaning to leave it as just text-based or sort of to hide them, but practically how do you do that?
Sure, so it's probably not something
text-based, sorry. It was text-based.
Text-based, okay. It's probably not something that I'm going to be able to get to go through today. I've got quite a lot of other stuff to cover. We will probably be able to cover it in another module, or if you want to just maybe pass on your details to Cameron, and I can email you separately and show you how to do that. That's not a problem. So, of course, all of this is kind of centered around Snap Core First, and this is a communication app that's available on iPad and Microsoft devices. you can actually currently access a free 60-day trial. I'm going to show you how to do that. And another key thing about Snap Call First is it actually supports quite a wide range of different access methods. So whether it's somebody that's using direct access with touch, maybe a switch scanner, or eye gaze. So it supports all of those different methods, obviously depending on the type of device you have and what access you have to that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to open up Snap and just show you a little bit about some of the things I've talked about briefly. So the first thing that I just want to mention is up here, we've got where it says core words, we've got what's called our top bar, and this has a couple of tools that I'll briefly mention. So this little dial here takes us to our dashboard. Dashboards allows the user to access things like their volume, able to mute, they can look at the date, time, for example. If they're using a device that has access to environmental controls, they can access that via here as well. You can also launch different apps from the dashboard here too. So that dashboard can be accessed on the top bar, or if it's easy for the user, they can actually also access it on their toolbar down here. It's the same, I'll give a link to the same page. The magnifying glass is basically our search tool. So what this will do is you can type in vocabulary, and this really helps with kind of modeling or searching for different vocab. If you select the appropriate word that you're looking for, what it will now do is it will actually take you to where to find that word. So you can see it's highlighting and flashing the button that I need to click on, and then it will take me there. And so you'll find that that will be a really, really useful tool. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come to some of the further modules as well. Over on this side, this light bulb will just give you a bit of an idea of some new features. So as we update our software, we put new features in there. And so it's worth keeping an eye on that light bulb, because sometimes there might be some features in there that you didn't know about. This syncing button, again, I won't be able to go into great detail, but this is basically the function that we use to be able to either back up our page set or share it across the cloud. So again, if you'd like to know a little bit more about that, do let us know, and we can provide a bit more of a detail about that. Again, I think we've got some really nice videos that talk a little bit about that as well, so I can link you into those. And then this button here, the cog with the pencils, our edit button. We're not going to go into that a huge amount today, but again, it's our customized session. We will take you into the editing bar and talk about things like how we add buttons, remove buttons, hide buttons, change some of the kind of content and style. And that will all be done via this editing button up here. So then you've got your message bar. So your message window will be in there. We've got a clear and delete button and a speak button on there. And then you'll notice here we've got, this is our toolbar on the left-hand side. So Snap Call First uses what's called flat navigation, which basically means that wherever you are within the software, you can always access the menus just by going over to your toolbar. So even if I get kind of really embedded into, say, colors and little words, and I want to go back to my core words, rather than having to hit back a bunch of times, I can just access my core words here and go back to it. Same as if I'm in quick fires and I dig into there and I want to, I can use this back button to go back one step, but if I want to jump to a whole other menu or a tool, I can do that by using this toolbar on here. So as we, sorry, is that a question?
Yeah, sorry, do you mind just speaking a little bit louder for us as well? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, if you just hold on a second, I'll change my audio settings and see if that works. Is that any better? Is everyone, any feedback on that? I've used a different microphone, so hopefully that might be a little bit easier. Cam, can you just let me know if that's all right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I accidentally muted myself. Yeah, That's a lot clearer. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Alex.
not a problem, not a problem. Apologies about that, sorry. So yeah, as we mentioned, we've got our core words here. The fringe vocabulary is in pink here. So if I wanted to make a sentence like, let's clear this. I want, I'm not sure if you're getting that sound. I can come into here, access food and drink, and come to dessert. I want more dessert. Again, I'm not sure if that's come in. Let me just try this again. I do apologise. I'm still getting used to using Zoom and not having people in front of me, so it's a little bit bizarre still. Let's see.
I want more dessert.
Can you hear that?
Yep, we can hear that.
Perfect. Brilliant. Okay, so core words, quick fires. So yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit here about kind of examples of this kind of formulaic language. So we've got things like yes and no. But we've also got things like
I am thirsty.
I am thirsty.
I'm hungry.
I am hungry. So you can imagine in these kind of situations where a child needs to, or an adult needs to kind of convey something kind of quite pressing like hunger or hurt, rather than having to build a word by word sentence just by hitting
I'm hungry
and get that message across. So again, it kind of feeds into that kind of speed and efficiency of language. Topics, I'm just going to show you the example of bubbles. So with topics, what you'll notice here is we've got some different color-coded words. So what we've done with each of these topics is we've tried to make sure that we put quite a lot of different types of language within these pages. So the idea is that we can use this one page just to communicate within that context. We wanted to make sure we gave access to questions, which are these blue, things like comments, statements, directions, which are in orange, positive statements, which are in green, and negative, which are in red. So we're really trying to make sure that we've got lots and lots of different types of language in there and to support that learner. We also have access within topics to behavioural supports. There is a whole other module that will talk you through that. So if you want to know more about that, please sign up. Just quickly show the keyboard. We do have a couple of different layouts. So we've got layouts that suit different access methods, like switch or eye gaze, where the buttons might be a bit bigger. We have ABC keyboards, you have high frequency keyboards. So it's kind of worth thinking about that when you're introducing a keyboard with somebody that you're working with. I'm just really conscious of time, so I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. Do we have any questions before I move on, Cam?
We did have one just asking about whether you can add photos. So I was saying that yes, you can. You can do this by whenever you're on the edit mode, you can select a button and click on the camera below where you can then choose to select a photo or take a picture on the device you're using.
Absolutely. And again, if you want to come to the customized core first session, we will talk a little bit more about that and show you how to do that. So what I'm going to take you through now is how to set up a free trial. And what I will be doing, let me just bring this back into here. Following this session is I'll be sending you this PowerPoint and I'll be giving you this 5 steps for setting up Core First, which is basically going to take you through exactly what I'm going to show you now. So don't worry too much if you don't take everything in. If you just want to kind of watch how I do it, as I say, you'll get the recording of this plus the sheet that will give you links as to how to access everything. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go and download the Snap Core First app. And you'll do this by accessing your App Store. So if you're on a Microsoft device, you'll be going to the Microsoft Store. If you're on an iPad, you'll go to the App Store. And you basically just type in Snap Core First. And this is the important bit. You'll notice that there's 2 versions. There's the full version, which will ask you to pay. But if you go for this version, if you click on there, this is the free version that we offer. And it basically has all the same tools, but it doesn't have any speech. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to download this free version of Snap Core First. So there'll be no payments, you just download this free version. But then what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to apply for
60 days of the voice, basically, so that you can turn that free app into a full speaking version. So go ahead and download the app for free via whichever app store it is that you're using. And then we're going to come to My Toby Dynavox. This is going to be a free personal website that gives you access to lots of support, resources, and this is how we're going to access our free trial. If you already have an account, you just click on member login. If you don't, if you go to free account, create account, it'll take about 5 minutes to sign up. I've got my account, so I'm just going to log in. So once you're signed up and logged in, you'll get to this page, and then across the top here, we're going to click on Store. And then I'm just going to scroll down to where it says Snap Call First and select there. And then you do have to scroll down quite a bit with this. This banner used to be a bit higher, but it looks like we've had a bit of a move around. But if you scroll down to this blue banner that says Request Free Trial, what we do here is we come to request a trial. Mine is active, but there's literally just a button that you click, and then it will say trial is active. So that will tell you how many days you've got remaining as well. So if you ever want to come and check back and see how long you've got remaining on your trial, this is where you would find it. So once you've clicked on there and you've requested that free trial, we're going to go back to your app. I'm just going to show you. So when you open your app for the first time, you're going to get this screen. And this is going to ask you to basically get started with a user. So it's nice and easy. I'm going to click on the Get Started button. Now, depending on where you're from, I know we've got a few people from around the world that have joined us, which is fantastic. You want to be aware of which page set you want to select. We've localized it into a few different languages. So we've got, obviously, because I've purchased this in the UK, the United Kingdom is going to come up first. But if you click on Show More, it'll show you some other versions. I know we've got a couple of Canadians, so there's an English-French bilingual version, and there's a few different options to select there. So once I've got the right one, I'm going to hit this arrow down here, and then this is the important bit. So this is where I need to make sure that I sign in so that I can access that kind of full speaking version. So here, I'm going to enter the email and password that I've just used to create that My Toby Dynavox account. So oops, going to log in here. Is everything okay so far? How many comments?
There's a few just coming in now. Can you add the free app at any time, as there are no students in school yet? So you can add it as a free app, but when you choose to start the free trial, is up to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody can download that free version. It just won't have a voice attached to it. So if you want to save your 60-day speaking trial for when you've got the students in, then you can just have the non-speaking version to begin with, and then activate that when you need to. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that. So once I've logged in, I clicked on the arrow. It's going to ask me to enter a name. Here is where I can select my voice. Now, because I've chosen the UK version, it's put British voices first, but if you scroll down, you'll see that there were lots of different voices. Let's see, I'm just going to go with Harry. Here is where I can choose my grid size. So if I kind of know roughly what kind of grid size I want to start off with, I can choose it here. But one thing to note is that if you choose a grid size and then want to change your mind, you can change it at a later date. So don't worry too much about getting it right at this point. I'm going to go for a 5x5, and then it's going to create that user for me. So now I'm in, and I've got a speaking version of Snap. If you have already downloaded the free version and you've been using it as a non-speaking version and you want to convert that into a speaking version, so therefore you've already created a user and you've just been using it non-speaking, you'd go through the same process, but what you would need to do is once you're into your user, You come to your edit button. Make this a bit bigger. You're going to come to where it says user, and then under here it says my Toby Dynavox account, and yours will probably say nobody is signed in, and then you just log in here using those exact same details. So if you've already been using it and you want to convert it into a speaking version, and you've already got it set up, then you need to come, open up your Snap, come into edit, user, and then you'll log in down here where it says my Toby Dynavox account. Any questions, Cam?
Someone's asking whether the app is free forever. Is it just a speech that's limited to 60 days?
Yes, absolutely. So the app is free forever. Anyone can download it. You can put it on as many devices as you want, as many times as you want. It's just the speaking version of it. If you are accessing your free trial, will only be for 60 days. However, for a full speaking perpetual license, it costs $48.99, so that's in British pounds. If you are abroad, again, I will just go to Microsoft Store and check the price on there, but you'll be able to find that by, let me show you. If we come back to here, if you click on, and when you search for it in your app store, you click on the full version, it should display the price there. So here, I think, oh, I already own it, so it doesn't say, but it's £48.99 in the UK. I think it's similar in dollars. I'm not too sure, but as I say, it will display that price, and that one-off payment is a perpetual license. So if you did want to have that as an ongoing license, then you could buy the full version there. Anything else, Cam?
Yeah, so there was just sort of a bit of discussion about sort of being able to have permissions to download it on school iPads and checking in with schools about getting sort of permission to do that. And then also a bit of discussion about when to start the trials. And I was sort of thinking that you can always get if you have permission to be able to get the app on your iPad, you can always still sort of learn about how to use it before getting the voice and sort of play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is that if you are a professional working in a school, or you're part of a speech and language therapy department, or any kind of professional capacity for working with children, AAC users, you can, further to your 60-day free trial, you can actually apply for my Toby Dynavox Professionals account, which will actually give you a free copy of that software perpetually. So once you've done your free trial, if you'd like to extend that, then what I'd suggest is you get in touch with your local account manager. I will give you details into how to find that. And for those that do work in services and settings with AAC users, then you can actually extend that trial further. So if it is something that you think that you might need to use for longer, then you can access it that way as well. Anything else, Cam? Just aware of time, so I've just got a couple more slides to go through.
Yeah, just one more question and we'll move on. So is the license just for one machine, or can you transfer it to other devices? So saying that you can use this on as many devices as you want, as long as you're using this same My Toby Dynavox account logged in on there. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's basically the way that you get that voice is by using that Toby Dynavox login, and it'll only allow you to do that on one machine at a time. So if I'm a speech and language therapist and there's an iPad in a school and there's an iPad in a different school that I use and an iPad in a different school, I might want to use that one license across all of them. But what we'll have to do is log the others out and only use one at a time, if that makes sense. So you can use it on different devices, but it'll only work on one at a time.
Right, thanks, Alex.
Okay. Right, so as I said, I'll be sending you through this 5-step that will take you through everything that I just kind of showed you. The first 2 steps are to do with setting up the Snap, the app that I've just showed you. And then the following step 3 will talk to you about downloading another free app called Pathways. And I would highly recommend doing this. This is a completely free app to everybody. There's no cost involved in this at all, and it's full of implementation resources. And for those of you that are going to be attending some more of our modules, we will be using the Pathways app. So I would suggest kind of an advance to that, kind of getting that downloaded if you can. So as I said, this was the first module in 6. So we've completed that together. So thank you very much. And what I wanted to let you know was these are the kind of times and dates and the links for the other modules. So as you can see, we're actually running each of these twice over June. I will be sending this page out to you, so you'll have all the links. It's available on our website anyway, but this is kind of quite a handy little guide. You can also print this off and kind of keep tabs on what you've attended. If you found this session useful and you know other people that would find it useful, we're running it again on the 12th of June, 10:30 UK time. I think that's going to be middle of the night for those of you that are in the States and Canada, unfortunately. But as I say, please invite other people, tell them about it. And as I say, we will be running the rest of the modules throughout June. We are also running another set of modules around Boardmaker Online. So for those of you that either are familiar with Boardmaker and want to get to know it a little bit more, or those of you that are brand new and maybe want to access a free trial to create some resources. Again, these are the times and dates of some of the modules that are coming up. So we've already delivered the first one the other day, but as I say, all the dates and links will be available on here as well. And just to tie this up, for those of you that want more information, maybe there's bits of today that you've seen that you want to go through again, or that you want more detail on, you can find your local account manager by going to this link here. And for those of you that are outside of the UK, there's another link down here that will take you to your sales reps for you guys as well. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with us if you've got any questions and if anything, any follow-up. What I will do is I'll be sending out the follow-up to today, which will include the recording. Hopefully I'll get it sent out this afternoon. If not, it will be tomorrow morning. And so if you've got any questions following that as well, please feel free to email in response to that as well. Apologies that I am 11 minutes over time. It's the first time doing this in half an hour, so I've got a lot to strive for to try and make it a little bit choppier. But I really hope that you guys have found this useful. I will hang around for another 5 or 10 minutes if anyone's got any more questions. You can either unmute yourself or you can go in the chat. If not, then thank you very much for attending, and hopefully see you again at some of our further modules. Thanks, everyone.
Alice, I have a good question here for you. So, Katie, if you're there, then do stick around for this. So they're asking about basically, do you need to pay for each account separately after the trial?
Yes.
Yes, and I was saying that you can, by having them all having their own account, it means that you can sort of take advantage of each having their own account, especially if it's their main form of communication.
Yeah, so the idea is that the free trials support the professionals that want to kind of get to know the app a little bit. We're aware that in order for people to be able to use and recommend software, they need to be able to know it a little bit. So that's why we offer these free trials. But for if you are then going to decide, yes, this child's going to have this app, whether it's on an iPad or something else, then yes, it would be need to be an individual purchase for each for each child. However, if they were purchasing a dedicated device, so whether it might be something like an Indie, which is one of our touch devices, or an eye gaze device, then that license for that software will come with that device. So it's kind of worth thinking about kind of what route you're going down. If it's kind of purchasing a device, it may be if you buy directly from us, that it will already include that license and you wouldn't need to kind of factor that into the costs. Somebody just raised their hand, Cameron.
Oh no.
I wonder if that owner was. But I can't see a hand up.
Okay. Has anyone got any more questions?
Do you get a reminder when the free trial is due to end?
I don't believe you do. I could be wrong, but I don't believe you do. However, as I mentioned before, if you go into your My Toby Dynavox account, let me just pull that up again, and go to that store, Snapcore first, and then trial, it'll tell you there how many days you've got remaining. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Nikki, I would suggest, yeah, just trying to keep an eye on it. Otherwise, it will kind of just cut out.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Right, well, if that's everybody, then what I'll do is I'll end the meeting. As I say, thanks everyone for joining, and hopefully see you again at another meeting. Thanks everyone, bye.